Hey everyone, welcome back to the last Secrets and Analysis video for the 5th Steven Bomb. This time we are going to be discussing the episode That Will Be All. As usual, I am here with Michael and we are going to discuss this last episode.
Excited.
Definitely. So basically, as every episode in this bomb has been doing, it starts right after the last one, where Greg and Steven, are carried into a room by an Amethyst guard, and they see, the crystal gem Amethyst, and she's with a bunch of other gems, including some Amethysts and Jaspers and some other ones. And thankfully, it looks like she found her family. They immediately took her in, which is amazing to see. It's obviously awesome how they got along so well.
Yeah, I like how there's literally from what I can tell, none of the soldiers were really all that loyal to the diamonds. They all seem all very friendly to Amethyst, and they seem, I guess that's just a trait. I guess for Earth gems, they're more inclined to not be as loyal to the diamonds, not care as much, be more fun-loving, and I think that might boil down to how they're basically treated, how Earth gems are treated on Homeworld. They might just kind of have some type of resentment. So when they saw another family member who could kind of relate, and one that stayed on Earth at that, they probably were very, very excited to meet her.
Yeah, you make a good point. Pretty much all Earth gems are like that, except one who is Jasper. The first Jasper we met, and I think I'll talk about her later because it's interesting to see how she's so loyal to the diamonds still. Even though she probably was not treated well, even though she was called perfect and stuff, she was still an Earth gem, which was not in her favor at all. So basically, moving on here, we see that Amethyst, just a cool little note that her name or her ID is Facet.
A little confusing.
So another cool thing is that we meet a new gem, type of gem, which is a carnelian, and she's pretty small. It could be that all carnelians are like that, but I think it's because they mention in beta, I believe the episode was, where Peridot says that she sees a carnelian cut out of the kindergarten that looks like they came out sideways. So that's cool that they brought back that. And also in that same episode, we see a hole next to our main Jasper that looks really skinny. So that was probably the skinny Jasper we see in this episode as well.
The detail.
I know, right?
It's crazy.
That hole, you're gonna see that gem that came out of that hole. We would never miss that, right? So it seems that all these gems that were made on Earth that are not currently on Earth because they'd be corrupted, they all serve blue diamond, except for Jasper, our original Jasper, who was because he was so perfect, I guess she was good enough to serve yellow diamond, interestingly.
Yeah, I wonder what that means exactly, because it seems like yellow diamond and blue diamond have always been equal on the hierarchy, just based on the diamond authority symbol. So I don't know why Jasper would go to yellow diamond specifically, just because she's better. I'm not sure why that is, or maybe she just isn't. They didn't want her at the zoo because the zoo was pretty low key for thousands of years. So they figured her strength would be more useful elsewhere, I guess.
That's a good point. Yeah, we don't really know the differences, what the diamonds, if they had specific duties or tasks. Besides what places they colonized. It could be that blue diamond does not have the energy to do anything at all for thousands of years ever since pink diamond. So basically yellow diamond's okay, fine, I'll take your best warriors and I'll actually get stuff done. But moving on, we see that Holly Blue comes in and making Steven and Greg run into this room where we see that there are a ton of bubbled rose quartz gems, which I'll get to in a bit, because like right after that, to our amazement, we see Blue Diamond come in, who is followed by Yellow Diamond, and we finally get to see them together for the first time, which is amazing. And we see how close they are to each other, and as I'll probably be mentioning quite a bit from now on, like they're probably the closest of all the diamonds because they're right next to each other on the Diamond Authority symbol, so they're probably equals.
Yeah.
If there is a hierarchy, we don't really know, but it's seeming like there might be, just like size, because they're exactly the same size.
Yeah.
And considering how Pink only had one colony, and didn't make it through that one, one. So, looking at the number of planets that they colonize, it looks like Blue Diamond, Yellow Diamond were equals in that, in pretty much all respects. So. But obviously they're very different from each other. And also another interesting note is that Yellow Diamond has different clothes this time. I believe she had like more of a dress last time, or a skirt. This time she doesn't. So obviously I don't think she was poofed. If she was, that like what?
Yeah, I doubt that.
It's like clothes, change clothes whenever they want, because they don't really wear actual clothes. Especially homeworld gems. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it was a small detail. So basically Yellow Diamond is talking to her sister and saying she doesn't understand why she's keeping these rose quartz around. But, we can see that the diamonds coped with the loss of Pink Diamond in different ways. Yellow Diamond is wasting resources to destroy the planet that caused her younger sister's shattering, while Blue Diamond is doing the opposite and trying to preserve her legacy. Which brings up the question, is White Diamond doing anything? How is she dealing with this? Is she just ignoring all this and doing nothing, or has no emotions? The big mystery right now after this is like, what is White Diamond doing? Who is White Diamond? We still know nothing about her, so who knows? We'll get to that soon.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see Yellow Diamond, kind of dealing with her grief as well, like, because Blue Diamond was like interesting enough, but we've already met Yellow Diamond, and it didn't seem like Yellow Diamond had much emotion. Yeah, like she wasn't very sensitive. So it was interesting to see, like, she's still hurting, but she's dealing with it more so with anger and destruction more so than sadness, but she's still hurting, and she still did state that she loved Pink Diamond. That was very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so an interesting little theory here, or that could be taken as just like the show foreshadowing itself once again, is that Blue Diamond reminded some people of Mr. Frowny from the episode Future Boy Zoltron, and she does match up quite well with him in this episode, despite the fact that Yellow Diamond and Mr. Frowny are not alike. But I guess it just shows how different these two characters, like Yellow Diamond to Blue Diamond and Mr. Frowny to Mr. Smiley. But this makes a very interesting parallel, that, like I said, could be taken as foreshadowing. Although of course nobody could have really, I don't think anybody predicted that, so good job on their part for making that like interesting parallel, if that's if that actually was the case. But a kind of same ending too, where it took someone that was close to them to make them feel better, the sad one feel better in the end.
Yeah, and it was another parallel was like how Blue Diamond came back to Earth, basically to see Pink Diamond's death site or whatever you want to call it, and Mr. Frowny also came back to see Mr. Smiley, so it's kind of a parallel of them both returning to an old place to just kind of deal with leftover emotions that they had.
Yeah, they still had. I don't think it was gonna go away. So like, they weren't doing the right techniques of coping with it until somebody else came along. Yeah, so that's interesting. So then, right after that, it comes to the song of the whole, like only one song in this whole bomb, surprisingly. It's What's the Use of Feeling Blue, and it's a really interesting song. I really like it. A lot of people's favorites, I would assume, new favorite song. But in the beginning and the end, it sounds kind of like the Corruption song, which of course has always sounded like the themes of the two diamonds that we know so far. And we learn, going on that, so does that mean there might be like two Corruption songs or something? We've theorized about that before. So I just thought that was really cool, that whenever we hear the diamonds, it kind of reminds us of the Corruption song.
Yeah, I would was completely thrown back when Yellow Diamond started singing. I was like, wait, what? She sings? But yeah, like if it is the corruption song, like I wonder how that corruption song works, because maybe like it wasn't the full song, maybe it was just a piece of the song, but like you would think if the corruption song is being sung that it would start corrupting, but it didn't, obviously. So maybe only the diamonds could like do the corruption song and actually cause corruption, or maybe the diamonds can't be corrupted by the corruption song, or maybe it was just a piece of the corruption song, or they need a machine or something. There's like a million different ways that could possibly went down.
So a couple interesting things that we learned during this episode were that 1, agates are meant to terrify, and 2, lapis lazulis are terraformers, which pretty much means on Earth they would probably use their water powers to change the land to fit the needs of the colony, to make more gems for the kindergartens, and they made other structures too. That's interesting that we finally know her purpose. I don't know if that makes her backstory any more or less interesting, but it gave her a purpose to be on Earth at least.
Yeah, it's confusing how she wound up in the battlefield, but yeah.
That's true. Good point. Yeah, why was she there? We still have a bunch of questions about her. I don't know if we'll get that, or we'll ever learn more about her, or if like they were just like, yeah, that's that's pretty much it to her.
Yeah, we don't need to know more, but it'd be cool.
Yeah. So, like you mentioned before, you were kind of like, kind of struck or surprised by how the diamonds and pearls, or Yellow Diamond and then the pearls, started singing, because that's interesting. Because Peridot had to be taught what singing was. So this could have been that singing used to be a thing on Homeworld, but then after Pink Diamond was shattered, it wasn't. Or perhaps it's just a diamond thing where they used to sing to each other. And this is how they try and calm each other down if something happens. So yeah, I don't know which one. Probably maybe combination or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because like we know Pearl's the big singer in the Crystal Gem, so that would kind of work like if only Diamonds and Pearls really sang. But we also saw that Ruby and Sapphire were singing in the answer. So that leads me to believe that it's probably an old thing. Or at the very least, maybe in like during Era 2, at some point, only like higher ups were allowed to sing. The lower gems weren't allowed to, which is why Peridot never really knew about it. But that also brings up the question of why Jasper was so infuriated with Sapphire singing. Maybe she just doesn't like singing in general because that's just her personality, or I don't know if there's like a deeper meaning behind that or not.
Yeah, maybe they were just like, told not to sing, and so like Jasper hearing sing is like, oh, that's totally not what, not allowed anymore.
Yeah.
So going back to the rose quartzes, we learned that they were made specifically for Pink Diamond. I don't know if they were made on Earth. That is possible. They might have been. There is evidence for that, and also against, but they might have been. And there were actually a ton of them. So, and they're pretty much every rose quartz ever made, it was bubbled. And which confirms another thing, that Homeworld gems do know how to bubble things, which is opposite of what Peridot knew how to do. Mm-hmm. She did not know how. So, could just be that. Like who bubbled these gems? Like, because the interesting thing was that these gems were in pink bubbles. So it could have just been the lighting of the room that made it appear that, or maybe an actual pink gem did bubble them. There could be other pink gems out there. Probably are. But that was just pretty interesting detail.
Yeah, I wonder why Peridot doesn't know. Like, well, it's assumed Peridot's pretty young, so it's possible that she just never got to learn bubbling. That could also work for singing potentially. But it's also possible that bubbling started becoming less of a thing over time. Maybe because, I don't know, maybe they started using like corrupted gems or shattered gems as like machinery and tools, similar to how they use lapis as a mirror, instead of wasting it, kind of going back to the resource shortage. So instead of just bubbling them, they would kind of use them for more of a purpose. But that's interesting that if Pink Diamond did bubble those rose quartzes, like why would they all be bubble? Like, what reason would she have to bubble them all?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really interesting.
So basically after that, Holly Blue comes in with Ruby and Sapphire and says that Sapphire brought in another human, which is of course unplanned, but as usual, thankfully, because Sapphire is just, very high up there, she's able to improvise, and they don't get caught for, doing this. I guess it's kind of assumed, or the Diamonds say it, that they're going to, or their new plan is to go to Earth and get more humans before the cluster emerges, which they don't know it hasn't emerged, and it's not going to, most likely. So they don't know that, so they're like, okay, let's go back to Earth, which is, what people were predicting would happen. And that's pretty scary, because they'll probably learn about how they might learn how the cluster is not going to emerge and destroy Earth like they planned.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how they would learn that at all. I feel like what's going to happen, not to get too ahead, but since we have all the necessary information, we saw that only 3 rubies crashed into the ship in Adventures in Light Distortion. So it's possible that Steven and the rest of the gems only end up finding 3 rubies, and that like blue and or yellow diamonds follow shortly after and find like Eyeball, and Eyeball kind of exposes that Rose is basically living on through Steven on Earth with other gems, and that could kind of serve as like I could see that being like a big like season finale thing where the diamonds show up and it's like about to go down. But I feel like, if they don't have like a solid army, I think seeing that how the Amethysts and the Jaspers are kind of taken to Amethyst, and we're kind of backing up the crystal gems, I could see them actually kind of somehow coming on board. Somehow, I'm not sure how they would get to Earth, but somehow helping them fight the diamonds or Homeworld eventually at some point.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see, actually. So many possibilities here. So around the end of the episode, we see that they all go towards back to the ship, because their mission to, put the human in the zoo is done. But right before they get to the ship, obviously, because Steven and Greg were not still in the zoo, we see that Holly Blue sees them, and we get to learn more about her, that she has an electric whip as her weapon, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But here's a very interesting detail that some people noticed, that if you guys remember in Earthlings, when Amethyst attacks Jasper with her whip, Jasper, right before it, her eyes widen and she gets hit by the weapon, like flinching and not even being able to move throughout this whole thing, which means that Jasper may have been working under an agate. It's quite likely. And may have got hurt a lot in the past, because we know that agates were meant to terrify. So what exactly happened to Jasper, and something bad stuff happened, that really sucks. It's possible because she was an Earth gem, so she was probably regarded very, not taken very seriously at all, despite her being so-called the perfect Jasper.
Yeah.
But of course, they're able to stop Holly Blue, and Amethyst has to say goodbye to her Amethyst, which pretty interesting nicknames. Amethyst always makes very good nicknames for things. Like Shorty Squad, I think that was her too.
Amethyst is like basically a millennial, essentially.
Good point. So, and we also see that Pearl says to Holly Blue, that will be all, which Holly Blue said to her earlier in the episode. So it's kind of like Pearl is like in power now, and it's like show Holly Blue who's boss. Interesting power swap there.
Yeah, they completely wrecked her so bad.
Right?
Like Garnet straight up disrespect her, didn't even punch her with the gauntlet arm. Like Pearl just tapping her nose, and it was amazing. Everything was just like so perfect and smooth.
Yeah. So ending the episode off, we see that each diamond, they came in an arm ship, and it's a whole arm this time, not just a hand. And the yellow one was a right hand, and the blue one was a left hand, which if you kind of face I guess not if you face it, but the opposite of you facing it, if you were the actual Diamond Authority symbol, like it matches up directly with the symbol. It's hard to explain. like looking at it, it looks backwards, but it actually works. So it's like, do they form something? Do they form Voltron? Or I just
Oh God.
That's probably not gonna happen. But like, why?
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, what would that form exactly? Because like, what would like Pink Diamond be? Both legs, or just a stomach, or like torso or whatever, and then like White Diamond's the head.
Yeah, because. But also interesting is that in the return we saw that there was a green hand. It wasn't a whole arm ship, it was just a hand ship. So it was smaller, so it may have just been like a Peridot ship because it was green.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if, like, I don't know like what their thing is with hands, I guess.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. I guess to end the episode off, Greg says this was his third craziest weekend, so I want to know what the heck. Probably not for TV.
Yeah, probably not. So something happened on tour, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he used to say he didn't get in trouble with this many people since he had his hair much younger or something like that. So yeah, so that's basically it for the episode. But an interesting note: the end credits do change again. You know, that's, I don't know what to think. It's kind of creepy this time too. People are thinking no corruption song. You know, that pretty much. Yeah, we don't know what else to think at this point.
Yeah, I think that's basically what it's going to lead up to. I don't know how exactly, but it's definitely going to lead. I'm pretty sure the diamonds are going to show up on Earth probably like during the season finale, or maybe even season 5 premiere. Maybe the season finale, season 4, and like on a cliffhanger. But I think we're leading up to a lot of craziness happening very soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that you know, the episode ends, but it still leaves the question: will they go get the rubies, and later the rose quartzes and the zoo, the zoom-ins and the zoo, and then we also asked before how much time has passed, if not that long, hopefully, from, you know, because of time travel. Who knows? I mean, not time travel, but like how fast they were going. Who knows how the time works? But yeah, so there are quite a few questions we got here still. You know, they said questions will be answered, but I don't know if that was the correct words to use to describe this arc.
Yeah, they said it's time for some answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there answers? I guess like they mentioned the zoo. Yeah, I guess we definitely got more in depth with the overall world, but I don't know if we had any direct answers. I think that was more referencing Steven and how he was like fed up with not getting answers, so he just went to get answers himself, and that's kind of what started the entire story arc. I think that was more reference to him. Yeah. But you mentioned before that there was a mention, I think, on the Keep It City Weird blog about Peridot potentially freeing the zoo.
Yes, so I was assuming that would be in the same episode, but obviously since Peridot was not brought along this time, that couldn't have happened. But basically in Keep It City Weird, which is a blog, I believe it's like a Tumblr blog.
Yes,
it's
canon.
Like, you know, it's supposed to be like in a world where where Ronaldo posts stuff, and when we meet the episode, I don't remember what episode it was, where Peridot like hacks the TV and like hacks all like TVs and plays a message which he was trying to send to her diamond. I don't know if it was message received. It might have been probably before that.
No, that was Cry for Help.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And that, like, right after that, Ronaldo made a blog post talking about that, and he also said, "Is this, you know, she going to?" So I don't know, like how he brought it up, but it's like he just made a whole bunch of predictions about her, and like he mentioned something about how she might be the one to save humans from the human zoo, to rescue or free them. So first, like, people were like, well, like all back then, like, what the heck, what human zoo? Now it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And he's been right before. That means they're going to come back to the zoo, and potentially Peridot is going to be with them this time. So hopefully he's right about that. I don't see why he wouldn't be, why he would be wrong, because he's been right so many times before.
Yeah, that's almost definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think what will happen is they'll probably go back to the zoo at some point because they need an army for whatever fight is about to happen. So they go to the zoo and they basically pick up all of the Earth soldiers, because they'll definitely be on board. And during that trip, Peridot will somehow free the zoo, for whatever reason.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
So that pretty much covers what we had to say for this episode, right?
Yeah, we had a lot to say.
Oh yeah, that was pretty long.
Yeah.
Our important episode, I should say. We learned so much, although it probably brought more questions than answers, which could be said for this whole arc, pretty much. But it was awesome. This whole arc, these whole 5 episodes were amazing. Just unfortunately, the leaks happened, and so we are really trying to promote you guys to watch the episodes when they come out each day after, starting January 30th on Cartoon Network if you can, or on the app, or buy it on iTunes if possible, because like I said before, these were released for a short time on the app, but they were taken down, thus meaning that it was a mistake. So we're really hoping we can all try and watch it when it comes out to support the show.
Yep, definitely.
So thank you guys for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.